Ohio State football kept things pretty light for its 8th preseason practice, only 12 periods, got it through it pretty quick, getting ready for Saturday's scrimmage. But there was a little bit of injury news today. Mike Hall, we saw him kind of slip and go down, a big-time defensive tackle, looking for, had kind of a breakthrough year, maybe a breakout year, could be ahead of him this year. So he was limited for the rest of practice, which sort of emphasized the importance of Tywone Malone, who came here over the summer as a transfer from Ole Miss. When we talked to Larry Johnson over the summer, the word he immediately used with Malone was depth, and we knew that someone with his experience and his skills and the way people have talked about him would enhance the depth here. But we're starting to see flashes from him, I think, from what I've seen in practice that tells you he could be even more important than that. What did you see from him today, Andrew?
Well, I think so. The number one thing, going back to the Mike Hall thing. So they were doing one-on-one reps. Hall goes down. He gets tended to by trainers. Works on a side field. Works on his explosiveness. Just kind of stretching out. So it looked like a cramp. Didn't look like anything serious. He stays on the field, and then, like you said, they go over to the team period, and Hall comes back in because they're just standing around. And the starting defensive line was Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau at the ends, and Malone and Hall in the middle. And I thought that was interesting. So I think Malone, it underscores the importance of having rotation-worthy players in your defensive line. Like, that is not a position where you can just put 4 out there and say we're good to go. You need to have rotation guys. I thought he had a good day, kind of like you said. I think that when you talk about those interior guys, we see the explosiveness from JT Tuimoloau. We see the pass rush ability from Jack Sawyer. We see kind of the ability that those guys have on the outside. If you can get an interior pass rush, if you can get anything out of those interior guys from Hall, Malone, whoever you're going to talk about, if you can get anything from those guys, that's going to be a big benefit to this defense. So for me, Malone, I think whether or not that is indicative of what we're going to see week 1, whether or not that's going to be something that, okay, that's going to be what they stick with for 3 weeks, he's still going to have to play a major role in this defense.
We were just doing another topic where we were talking about the acclimation period that there exists for Jimmy Simmons as he goes from San Diego State to the Big Ten and to Ohio State. Tywone Malone doesn't really have that sort of adjustment to make. He's coming from the SEC, and even if Ole Miss wasn't at the top of the SEC, that's still a really solid program. He's playing really solid competition when he gets into games. So you pointed out, Stephen, too, that if Tywone Malone were a starter on opening day, regardless of injury situations, it wouldn't be necessarily a shock because at one point that was maybe sort of the plan for how his career, where his career should be at this point at Ohio State.
Tywone Malone looks like a dude, just from an eye test standpoint, and then he's been doing dudish things the 2 times we've been out here to watch practice. So, one thing we're forgetting here, Tyleik Williams was not at practice. And the last time we were at practice, he slipped and fell. The trainers looked at him, they put a knee brace on it, and then he went back out there, but he was kind of in and out in drills all day. And then we've seen him coming in from the field when we've come in here for interviews, but we don't know what he was doing out there because we weren't at those practices. He was not here today. So you wouldn't got Tywone Malone because you thought you only had 3 guys. And we're not sure what's going on with Tyleik Williams right now, but right now, as of today's practice, they're at 3 guys again, which makes the emphasis on why you need to go get Tywone Malone that much more important in this situation. Now, if he also raises the ceiling of the room along with Mike Hall's got to stay healthy, but along with what he brings to the table, along with the experience Ty Hamilton has, that's a solid top 3. But they brought him in here for depth, and we're finding out very quickly why that was so important.
And there's some younger guys, too, who, if there were injury issues, could maybe have an opportunity there. Hero Canoe, guys like that could maybe move up the depth chart. But clearly, Ohio State has been thinking about these top 4 between Hamilton, Williams, Hall, and now Malone, and what that rotation of 4 guys could mean on an interior and the penetration you could create there, the problems you could create for defenses. So it's still early in camp. Mike Hall did stay at practice. He didn't have to leave. The Williams absence maybe is even a bigger deal than that because he wasn't here at all. So things we're keeping an eye on as practice progresses. We've got a couple more weeks of preseason camp before Ohio State starts its season September 2nd at Indiana. So get the text 614-350-3315. It's a 2-week free trial, so you can get a lot of camp intel from us for free from Buckeye Talk.